الأولمبياد تفصل اليوم الصالة الأولمبية في مراسم مختصرة بالعاصمة اللبنانية في أثينا، وتتكلم عن ماركو إنتو ممثل أولمبياد طوكيو. هذين المحترفين والمحترفات يتم في بيان المنشرة عن صورتهما حتى 7 مليون ذلك بسبب فيروس كورونا. أضاف الاتحادين أن موسم البطولات على السلامة الصحية
ده مين ده؟ خلي بالك في ناس ابتدوا يطلعوا.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone, wherever you are. We are going to start in about a minute. So if you are in a position that you feel comfortable to turn on your camera, which is down, depending, just move your mouse around and there should be a camera logo come up saying something like start video. So for example, here, I don't know if you guys can see my screen here. It says stop video, for example, or start video. So maybe you guys can start it. And then we will begin in about a minute and give everyone a minute to join. Until then, I'm going to mute everyone, including myself.
Hi, Brittany, it's Jen. I know that we're just getting ready to start, but whoever's controlling it has to turn my camera on. And I know that it's supposed to be something I can turn on from my screen, but it's not.
1 second. Okay. Let me, that was that you, Jennifer?
Jennifer, sorry.
Okay,
Yep.
No worries. Here we go. Should be able to.
Hi, Jennifer. Jeffrey.
There we go.
Hi, Jeffrey. How you doing?
Let me
I'm well,
see.
thank you. All things considered.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty. So it's now, we've just turned time.
All the events
So,
anyway.
yeah, just
Ricky, can you?
all again.
I'm gonna leave my video off because of my bandwidth.
No worries. It's not a problem at all. Just if you're in a position to turn it on, then go ahead and turn it on. If not, no worries at all. So, Jen, 1 second. Okay. So just still waiting. We actually have 100. We actually have 100 people cap. I didn't know if we were going to get 100, but looks like we're getting 100 pretty fast. So anyway, so let me just see, Jennifer, where you are and see if I can turn on your camera from here. You should be able to do that from your computer. So can you see my screen? Can everyone see my controls?
Yes.
Okay. So for example, if you move it around, there should be this bar.
Hi, Lewis.
Hey, Jeffrey.
If I move this bar, it should come up. So give that a go. And if that doesn't work, don't worry. Okay, so we're probably going to hit the 100 mark pretty fast. All right. So everybody, welcome. This is really, really exciting. The reason why we wanted to run, okay, we're at 97. So wait for it to come in. All right. So a very, very, very warm welcome to everybody. Maybe we should go a little bit into how we decided why this is a good idea. Let me just stop sharing and then just go into, okay, here we go. Just admit the last people who we can join. And then the last person will be the lucky last person who can join us. So a very, very warm welcome, everybody. Maybe just a little bit, okay, 100 participants. Admit, Jen Henderson, you are the lucky last person that we can enter. Okay, welcome. So a very, very warm welcome, everybody. Maybe just a quick word as to why we're doing this. So Mark, are you there? Did you want to say hi? Mark Butler and I?
Yep. Hi, everyone. I'm Mark,
over
in Melbourne and enjoying my breakfast.
Yes, and I'm not enjoying my breakfast, but I'm still having a coffee too. So everyone feel free to have a coffee. So Mark and I connected last week or the week before, and we thought, isn't it a good idea if we found a way to kind of bring Rotarians up to speed about how to just get onto Zoom. So for example, it's not about e-clubs, it's not about changing your club model, it's not about any of that. It's simply about if you want to meet in these times where it's difficult to meet, and you know, like we said this week, there's no better time and there's no more important time for Rotary than right now. And so the last thing that we should be doing is stop meeting. But of course, we have to go from a face-to-face meeting to an online meeting. And Mark and I, what we like to say in Australia, we put our thinking caps on. We thought, what could we do? And so Mark, did you want to say a few words how we came about?
Yeah, look, I guess briefly, kind of what's been going on since last week. So we talked about how we would get people engaged in our various clubs, and I've been talking to the 50 members of my club during the past few days, getting them all up to speed. And in fact, the biggest lesson that I've got, which I think is a really important place for me to start with my comments, is prepare. If you help your members prepare for this, you'll have successful meetings. I'm noticing, Jennifer Jones, you're still not on camera, and we've been having trouble with about 50% of our club members not being able to get on camera. And through some preparation, and in a couple of cases, I've even had to go over and click on something in people's back end of their computer to make it work. The more preparation you do for your club meeting, the better your meeting is going to be. Yeah.
Exactly. Change the headphones. Can everyone still hear me, even I'm on headphones?
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So we don't want to spend too much time, kind of doing the introductions. That we just wanted to pass over to welcome, particularly, of course, everyone has taken the time to get online, because at the end of the day, your efforts are really going to support your clubs. But we wanted to say a quick hello to Jeffrey and Jennifer. So are you guys there?
Hi, Brittany. How are you?
Hey, Jennifer. How are you doing?
Well, I don't know. I'm obviously having technical gremlins. Yesterday I was on a call and couldn't turn it on, and they had to turn my camera on the back end somewhere. So I'm not sure exactly why.
Wait a second. I just sent you a ask to start video. Did you get that request?
Yeah, it just popped up, and
There you
go. Hello. Hello, everyone. So I'm really thrilled that you and Mark initiated this call for all of us to get together. You know, it's such a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to connect at a time when everything else is being disconnected, and the opportunity for us to have best practices going forward with other calls for all of you who are on this call, who are perhaps going to initiate some in your own area, which is a wonderful idea, because right now is a time that we need to be in shared experience, and we need to be talking about things that provide hope and good stories. And there's lots of stuff that Rotarians are doing right now, even though we're not together. So I applaud you for what you're doing, and I'm really glad to be on the call with you guys today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. And Jeffrey, how are you doing?
Hi, Brittany. How are you? Hello, everybody.
Good. This second call was Jeffrey's idea, actually.
Well, this is my fourth Zoom call I've been on. I just got off of a club call in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
So again, thank you to you and Mark. We had a great call last week, although we didn't have these numbers, and I'm sure if we didn't have a cap at 100, there'd be even more. All I want to say to you is that we've all been through this time when everything's getting canceled. Canceled PETS, President-elect training seminars, canceled district conferences. Yesterday, the convention canceled. And everybody's disappointed, especially district governors who are never anticipated that this would be the last 3 months of their term, or club presidents, or just Rotarians in general. And what I've been telling people is that we need to acknowledge that disappointment, and then we need to quickly replace it with determination. And that determination needs to be that we need to not go dark as clubs, as Rotary, that the world needs us more now than ever, that we need to stay engaged and connected, and this is a great way. And that we need to use these tools that we have been slow to embrace, and maybe this is the silver lining. There are a lot of people who, like Louis Turpin is on the call, Lewis's District 7210 with their governor, Cindy Kish. They are way ahead of the curve with being connected online, with doing online training. We've heard from a lot of other districts in America that are trying to come up to speed quickly. Brittany, we have just set up an every Thursday call alternating with the 44 district governors in zones 28 and 32, with Valerie and I, and then the next week with the DGEs all the way until June, so that we can stay connected, so that they can then push down into their clubs. This is the wave of the future for us, but it is also the present for us right now in our current situation. And the last thing I'll add is that for any of you who don't have a Zoom account, or whose clubs or districts need one, if you go to Rotary.org to Rotary Global Rewards, you can get a 20% discount on Zoom, even though you can get it for free. There's always an advantage to upgrading, and you can get a 20% discount at Rotary Rewards at Rotary.org. So Brittany, I was with you 3 weeks in Mexico, and we weren't even talking about this. We weren't even talking about
we
this.
were eating tacos in the sun.
And
Can you
now,
believe it?
here we are. So I'll
That's
stop
it.
there and let you and Mark take it back. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Jennifer. Again, the reason why we had this call, or why we're setting up this call, is to not go into the benefits of digitalization or bringing, Zoom into your clubs. We just firstly wanted to get down to the real basics and say, okay, how do we do it? And because I know that lots of people have been connecting online, but there's always, those questions about, am I doing it right? How can we do it? What about my club? So we just wanted to make sure. Also, here's a full disclaimer. This is not approved by RI at all. This is not approved by RI. This is not condoned by RI at all. So please, all mistakes are mine, and all the benefits go to Mark, Jennifer, and Jeffrey. So just keep that in mind. All right. So I'm going to take out my headphones because I wanted to just make sure. I want to make sure. During our call, I cut out or something. Someone please just let me know in our chat, okay? So here, welcome to, this is our presentation, which is how to use Zoom in your Rotary Club. So first and foremost, before we begin, I just wanted to, before we go into exactly how to use Zoom, I wanted to make sure that everyone knows how to use it while we're on the call, right? So here's some tips for Zoom, for humanizing Zoom calls, right? Because lots of people talk about what about the fellowship? And Mark, maybe if you wanted to mention a few things about the fellowship element, because it's obviously a concern that lots of Rotarians have, is what about fellowship if we're all, in our homes online? Mark, did you want to say a few things about that?
Yeah, well, actually, just as an example, my wife and I are catching up with a couple of Rotarians for dinner next week, and they live in a different city to us. So we're going to be in our kitchens. We're going to have the same recipe. We're going to cook together.
Nice.
We're going to sit at our dining tables and have the same wine together. And if that works, we're going to start doing that in bigger groups.
Nice.
Parties of 3 and 4 couples.
Funnily enough, I had a call with one of the Rotary Club, yesterday, and they said actually one of the things that we see very often in Rotary clubs is that people go in, they sit in their same seats, and they don't move. And actually, if you're in a call like this, actually see lots of people. So the first thing that I want to do is that when you're setting up a Zoom call, is that we need to also, anyone who wants these slides, if you want to send, just send me a notice in our chat. I'll send you over the slides. So let me just see, there's some people waiting. Let me just add them so they can join us. Okay. The first thing is that we need to set an agenda for the call. So just like any other Rotary meeting, it's really important that people know why on earth, we're meeting. So that's number one. Second thing is, make sure that you have everything that you need within arm's reach. If you need your glasses, have your glasses there. If you need your coffee, have your coffee, within arm's reach. Also, don't sit with the window behind you, because you're going to see something that looks like this, right? So here's me when not sitting in front of the window, and here's me sitting in front of the window. Do you see how you can't see more or less anything? So what we want to do is make sure that always we're facing sunlight. That's kind of a human tip number one. The other thing is, let people around you know you're on a call. Sometimes your significant other or someone that you share your home with is going to scream down the stairs, "Hey, can you bring me this thing?" And you're like, "I'm on a call," and because you didn't let them know. So make sure the same way that as you leave your house, "Hey, I'm going out," let them know that you're going to be on a call. Let them know that you won't kind of be available for however long the call is. Also, try to find a spot with minimal distraction, because we really want to connect, because connecting with purpose. So try to make sure that you're not in a place where there's millions of people running around or things like that. Even if you're at a cafe, try to sit maybe facing a wall instead of facing outward, so it looks like you're still engaging. And also, it's an oldie but a goodie, but make sure that your computer is connected to power, or at least has, or if your device, if it's a smartphone or if it's a tablet, make sure that it's always connected. Otherwise, we're gonna, often some people, drop out because of power issues. So the second, so as we move on to our next one, is during the calls. So there's a few things to keep in mind during the calls. If you can, use a microphone or a headset. So you can use often your headphones that you use for your phone. And also try to sit a little close to the screen. So you don't have to sit like right up close, that's maybe like too close, but sit kind of like at a place where most of your upper body is kind of in the screen so we can see you. Also, if you're not talking, try to hit mute. Another reason is because maybe you're not aware, but maybe a train is going past your house and that's actually very loud for other people. We don't really know. So if you can hit mute, so the way that you mute yourself, we'll go through, but I'll show you. And then once you're on mute in an audio call, of course you can do whatever, that you want to do, but I would kind of do what I would usually do in a Rotary meeting. So I wouldn't necessarily go do my emails while somebody's talking. So things like that. So our basic human, mode is really important. And sometimes having faces is also very important to see faces. So, and there, it's funny. So if I'm looking at the screen, this is me looking at the screen, right? But every now and then I'll look in the camera. And so it feels like a little bit more, connected. So we try to mix the same way that, if you're talking to someone in real life, that you talk in there, like you give eye contact, but also you kind of, look at the neck. So it's not too kind of confronting. When we're using technology, we do something very similar. So imagine your camera being the eyes of the person, and imagine the screen being the neck. So try to distribute your eye contact between the camera and the screen. And also, when we are using Zoom, we want to have everyone in gallery view. So what that looks like is, I'm going to now go share my desktop so you can see that. So desktop, share. And so the way that we're going to do gallery view. So does everyone have this bar? Maybe they do. So this is, for example, if I just see one other person, this is when I see many people. And this is really fun because you can see all these different people online. Like, that's crazy. Look at that. And then we can also do this, which means that, we focus on one person. So I really enjoy seeing as many people as possible. I think that's really fun.
Brittany, we can't see what you're showing when, from the Zoom window. We can see the PowerPoint that you have.
Okay, then that's very helpful. So let me just do this. And can you see it now?
No, you might try doing like a screenshot, like your entire screen, like an alt print screen or control print screen. Actually
posted a screenshot on your Facebook already.
Yep, just did. Okay. So for example, I'm going to now, thank you for that. I'm going to now share that in our chat. Can we do, where is this? So let me
You can paste it to a new slide. And then
Oh, that's a good idea. Look at this. This is why we in Rotary have very smart people. Isn't that great that someone, so let me click out of this. And for example, where are we? Goes like this. And this is, for example, what it then looked like on my screen. So for example, I have these people here. So this is a gallery view. And the way that we choose gallery view is by more or less just clicking on, where the people's faces are. So there's like one box or there's 4 boxes. So that's a really good way that you can share, what you're looking at. So in order to get into that, before we jump in, maybe what's also kind of interesting is why we have a Rotary meeting in general, is basically just to connect and say hi and have fun. So maybe if we wanted to take kind of like a few minutes, and we can jump around and kind of say hello to people. So if you wanted to unmute your microphone and say hi and introduce yourself, that'd be really great.
Hi, this is John Britton from District 9710 in southern New South Wales, Australia.
Hi.
and Rotary Connects Tuggerong. So looking forward to going forward while we're isolated. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Anyone else? Who else is there? Let's do a quick, like a Rotary roulette. Who else is on the call? Otherwise, I can pick up people like Margaret Hugo.
Hi, this is Chris Potter from Rotary District 7450. I'm just outside of Philadelphia, PA in the U.S. When I'm looking at your screen, I actually can't see the gallery view, speaker view button.
Okay.
When you took the PowerPoint down, then it came back.
Okay. Let me see. Let's just go through a little bit and then let me see what I can do behind scenes. Okay. What about Margaret Hugo? I called you out. How are you?
Good to see you, Brittany and Mark, and thank you so much for doing this. This is Margaret Hugo from Evanston, from Chicago, Rotary Club Chicago, District 6450, United States.
Yeah, we heard of them.
Well, nice to see you, Margaret.
Who else is around?
There's one guy, Jerry Springfield, who's driving, and it looks like he's driving on the right side of his car, so he must be in Australia or England or somewhere like that.
This is fun. I'm now just taking screenshots of everyone that's online. This is so much fun.
That's a little scary that some guy is doing this while driving.
Yeah, we don't recommend driving. That's a very good public service announcement. Whoever said that.
I'd like to introduce myself.
Go for it.
Oh, I see Amy's on the screen. Were you going to talk, Amy? Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'll go after you.
Okay. Amy's picture is up, but my name is Margaret Holliday, and I'm president of the Schenectady Rotary in Schenectady, New York, District 7190.
And my picture that's up, I'm Amy Bruley. I'm from District 7190, Schenectady, New York, and I'm Assistant Secretary.
Exciting stuff. All right.
This guy's in England and he's driving.
Oh.
I think that's cool.
Anyone else want to say hi?
Yeah, this is John Picorni. I'm from District 5790 in Texas. And thank you for doing this because our district is wrestling with it. And I wanted to see the process for how do you handle this with 99 people going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
All right.
Say hi from Oakland.
Brittany.
Does this automatically switch from one camera to the other?
Yes, it does.
When it senses it coming through the microphone, or are you doing that?
No, it's automatic.
Audio.
Well, how about some European voice? This is Denny from Denmark. Nice to see you, Brittany. And hi, Jennifer. Hey, I'm sorry I can't wave to you because I've been totally used by my kids today. And believe me, you don't want to see my face right now. So
I miss you.
my name up.
I miss you a lot. How is it? All right, anybody else? Otherwise, we'll jump into it.
Yeah, this is Rachel O'Sera. Hello, it's Christine Rendell from Calgary, Alberta.
Hi.
Hi, I'll jump in. Rachel O'Sera from the Rotary Club of Naperville, District 6450. Thank you, Marga, for inviting me. Great to see you, Mark Bala, and other friends. This is really wonderful. Our club is in the process of implementing Zoom as well.
Welcome. Do we have any Rotaractors on the line? I had a few Rotaractors message me on Facebook being like, "Can Rotaractors join?" I'm like, "Of course."
Brittany,
yeah.
It's Andrew from the UK, from Woking District Club. I was an ex-Rotaractor, and I'm
nice.
And I've now reached the tender Rotary service age of 32, and I'm just 50, so that's not bad, is it?
It's not bad at all. No, any other Rotaractors apart from Andrew?
Yeah, this is Vatsal. I was the one who texted you on Facebook.
Welcome. Lovely to have you. Very pleased to have you.
Yeah. So I'm from District 3060, India.
In India. Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can. Okay, so everyone, let's get started about so the reason why we thought we'd begin from like step one is obviously you guys are set up with Zoom, so you are familiar, but what we wanted to do is give you more or less a video that you can send to people who are not yet set up on Zoom, that they can go step by step, because, you know, sometimes when we set up email accounts, we can't even remember how we did it ourselves, right? So what we're trying to do now is give you more or less just a resource that, as again, is not approved by Rotary International, to help you Rotarians get online. So I'm going to now share my screen, and then you guys let me know if you can see what I see. So what I'm going to do now is move my gallery view because I can't see anything, and then I'm going to open our Zoom call. I'm going to open a browser. So in order to open a browser, so I'm going to start from scratch. Yeah. Did anyone say something?
Hey, Brittany, remind everybody to mute their mics. We're getting your video cut out.
So there we go. I'm sorry, everyone. It's for the experience of everybody else. It's not that you're not important. We want to hear everyone what you have to say. We're just going to run through this first, and then any questions, feel free to add in our chat. If, however, during the call that you can't hear me or something, definitely someone jump in and let me know. So we're going to begin from step one. And step one is often, how do I get to Zoom? So we're going to go with, there's many ways you can get to Zoom. So you can either just type it in your browser, but you can also just recommend people to just type in Zoom in Google. The first thing that will come up will be this, zoom.us. So then we click on this. And then what we're going to see is more or less, and then what we see here is our browser. And then in our browser, we've got a couple of options. So it says we want to join a meeting, host a meeting, or my account. So I am currently signed in, so I'm going to sign out, and I'm going to create a new account. So what I can do is that I can type in here, for example, my email account. And what I set up a new account today called rotaryyooms@gmail.com. And then, however, if you need to set up a Zoom account, then we go to which account that you want to choose. As you can see that I have a million email accounts. So then we go to Rotary Zooms, which is my original email account. And then I go create account, click create account. Then it comes up with here. So what we want to do, this is kind of, I guess, obviously right now that lots of people are using Zoom, so that maybe their quality is compromised, but you know, I haven't found that really. I guess they're just, you know, taking precautions. So now we have a Zoom account. This is basically it. This is all it looks like. So then we go to, for example, like our profiles. And what will happen is that when we have our name, you can of course here like upload a photo. This is kind of helpful if you are, you know, if you want to share like, you know, your photo or something like that. So you're like, okay, this is then me. You can upload a photo here. So then when you're not talking, at least, you know, your photo is kind of being shown. This personal meeting ID is actually really interesting. A personal meeting ID is kind of like your phone number. So this is like when you say, okay, everyone who wants to meet with me, you know, you can use this particular number. And what some other Rotary clubs have found is that they have just essentially opened up a meeting ID. And what I recommend is if you want to use one Zoom account per Rotary club, then I would make sure that your email address is your Rotary club email address. And I would try to avoid having, for example, your Rotary meeting or your Zoom account managed by only kind of like one person, because what we find is that we kind of get information tends to bottleneck a little bit. What we want to do essentially with our digital model for a Rotary club is that we want more or less everyone to be digital literate. All that means is that every single member in the club can join an online meeting, right? It doesn't mean that they need to be able to set it up. It doesn't mean that they need to be able to send out invites. It doesn't mean any of that. It just really means that if we send somebody a link to their email, that they're able to open that link and join a meeting. Of course, and then you can, you know, scale technical ability through your club, and you can say, okay, we want 100% literacy for everyone, you know, for digitalization, which means everyone can at least join a meeting. And then maybe we want 30% for people to be able to set up a meeting, and then maybe only 10% of people need to, to know like the back end. So this is kind of like, this personal ID meeting is like your phone number. And so what many Rotary clubs do is that they have this phone number open. So it just means that you can essentially use this number at any time during the day. So you can just, get in and call. And often there's actually been a fun, I have to tell a story here. There's actually, funnily enough, there's a Rotaract Zoom room at the moment running, which means that there's a Zoom room live that any Rotaractor on the planet just can join, and they just hang out and they talk. Of course, this breaks like all meeting rules because there's no agenda, there's no facilitator, everyone is just talking, and it's different time zones, and some people are drinking coffee and other people are drinking things other than coffee. But it's still like a fun place to just hang out for these kinds of moments. But this is a particular moment in time with the whole coronavirus, but what we're trying to do is kind of set up a meeting. So how to then set up the meeting. So then we go back to our profile. This is the basic type. So you can also upgrade. There's many plans to upgrade. So the basic type only allows you 40 minutes with 3 to like 100 people, which, to be honest, is quite it's quite strict on time. Mark and I found out actually last week that it's very strict, and it does really cut off at like 41 minutes. However, I have a paid plan for my business, so I'm currently using that. So all you need to do is upgrade account. If you upgrade account, this is, for example, where you can go to the Rotary Rewards page and then get your discount as well. So if we go back, so the capacity for this meeting is 100 people, and as you can see, we're pretty much at 100. And then you just set up, your time zone and the dates. And this is also very helpful because what we do is when we want to set up a meeting, it's all kind of scheduled within. It connects to our to our account. So what we want to do is then on the left-hand side, there's different kinds of tabs, right? So there's profile, meetings, webinars, recordings, and settings. So meetings is probably what is probably good for a Rotary meeting. So then we click on there. And then what we want to do is go to schedule a new meeting. So this is this blue button here where it says schedule a new meeting. So then I go click on there. And then all I want to do is then, for example, call it like Rotary Club meeting. That's it. And then this is, for example, where you would put like text of your program director, right? This is where your program director would usually write, okay, everyone, this is what we're doing, and this is who's going to be there, and we're looking forward to have you, and that goes here. And then we go, okay, how long is it going for? Yep, our meeting's 1 hour, and then you just say whatever time, whenever you guys meet. So for example, let's just say everyone meets on a Thursday at 3 p.m. Great. And then also something that's quite helpful is that you can add recurring meeting, which means that it recurs, depending on how often you guys meet. Maybe you meet weekly, you can add it to weekly. Maybe you meet monthly, add it to monthly, however often you meet. And then you can say, okay, it occurs every Thursday on this time. And again, here, where it says, I would not have it like, on never-ending occurrences, because otherwise, you might forget about it. So try to update it maybe once every quarter might make sense. Also, something that might be also useful is that if you guys wanted to kind of secure your meeting, there's a thing called a meeting password. So you can have, maybe you want to call, you can create your own district password, maybe something that everyone can remember, like 1940, which was my district, in Germany, or something like that, whatever you wish. Where it says here, host and participant, I would recommend turning videos off for everybody, because for me, I think video is, I think you can invite people to join, but there are some people who, for whatever reason, there's all different reasons. Maybe their internet isn't strong enough, all the way through to, they're feeling sick and they don't want to sit in front of a camera. So I would recommend beginning the meeting, making sure that both of these points are on off. And then when it says audio, do we want telephone or computer? A really good thing about Zoom is that a Zoom can also simply just be on call. So it can happen if you're in the car and you don't have, stable internet, you can just call in, or maybe some of your Rotarians would prefer to use a telephone, or they have a landline still and that you'd like to use that. It's all ways that you can encourage people to adopt an online mindset. So it's not about completely changing your club. It's just about encouraging people to find a way to engage in different ways that works for them. So when it comes to meeting options, where it says enable to join before host, I would not recommend this one because it's a little bit like, imagine you're at a Rotary Club meeting and you turn up as a guest and there's no members, right? That's so weird. So if you're, because you don't know, am I here? I don't know if I'm in the right place, things like that. So what we want to do is make sure that, that the host has to, admit people. And for example, like what we had today, which was that I had a slide up that said, okay, the meeting will begin in 10 minutes. Also, muting participants upon entry, I think, is also probably a good thing to do because people don't know really actually how loud it is around them sometimes. And this is the waiting room. If you want to admittedly admit people. And then record the meeting automatically on the local computer. I really recommend I'm going to take it off for a second. The reason why I really recommend the automatic recording is because this automatically becomes data or content for your club. So let's just say, for example, you had some RI leadership. Maybe Jennifer or maybe Jeffrey came and joined your club and you wanted to share with other clubs, what they had to say. All you need to do is just record the meeting online and you can save it to your local computer, whoever is managing it. And then you can share this, which is essentially what Mark and I did last time. So Mark, we had our Zoom call online. Was it 10 minutes after we finished or how many minutes afterwards?
Yeah, that's about right. Yep.
Right, about 10 minutes after we finished. So automatically, when we start sharing what a Rotary meeting can look like and people can enjoy what a Rotary meeting is from the comfort of their own homes, really, maybe they might become a little bit more inclined to think, you know what, maybe Rotary is interesting. Maybe it is something for me. Whereas when we often invite people, or especially like younger people, to join a Rotary Club, it's you have to find time and you have to go there and you have to meet people, and you have to take a chance. But what we can do with encouraging Rotarians to share their meetings online is share actually how valuable coming together really is. And so, and people can see, wow, there's no way in the world that I would have been able to see this and this person speak if I wasn't involved in Rotary. And also, this is an incredible opportunity for clubs because your ability or your capacity to invite speakers it goes through the roof. You can have, any one of our Rotary leadership or any other industry leaders who might not be as willing to go to travel, or they might not be able to travel. You can have them as a speaker because they can do it from, the comfort of their own home or their office or their hotel room or wherever they are. So it's a really good thing when we start recording our meetings because often the knowledge of Rotary gets lost. And often, and we can see this, especially when it comes to informative things, like imagine like an update, like, for example, Brenda Cressy for our foundation, we saw a few updates via video because essentially it's the same information. Does she really need to give it over and over again? Or can we use the time of the people in questions? So back to our...
I have a quick comment just before you go on there. Your idea of starting recording from the beginning is great. So what I've been doing for a couple of things is I record the whole thing, and then I'll put it, when I post the YouTube link on my Facebook page, I'll say the meeting proper starts at minute 7, for example, because you had the recording with your screen up the front, so people can quickly scroll forward to where the meeting begins. Yeah. And you can say, if you just want to hear our speaker, that starts at minute 32.
Oh, great. Yeah. Yeah.
And so it gives people an option to either watch the whole meeting or just the bits that they want to select. And if you can, it takes you a moment just to work out what time various things begin, and then you can put that as a tip.
Right. And so this is also probably really beneficial even for members, who are trying to manage their time and things like that. So maybe there's someone who, has a work commitment, but they'd also really like to show up for a particular part of their meeting. And if we can commit to them, okay, we're meeting at this time, then that's also really great. So let's just go back here to scheduling meetings. Okay. So then we go save for whenever that is. Okay. And so this is, for example, next week we have our call, And then what happens here is that this is our meeting ID. I don't require a meeting password. However, if your club would like to, go ahead. And this is the URL. And then what we do here is we copy the invitation, and then the invitation is already written. So it says this is the topic, this is the times, and you know, if anyone would like to download into their calendar, this is what it looks like. And then you essentially can copy that and then add it to your regular email, and then you're ready to go. Or for example, like what we did today, where we used Facebook also as a reminder, because we have quite a lot of Rotarians also on Facebook, and we just really want to make connecting online as easy as possible. So that's essentially all we want to do for our Rotarians, is just show them all we need to do is go to the Zoom website, sign up with your email, and then just join like this. And also one thing that I would encourage you guys to maybe think about is that don't give up if it doesn't work on the first time, right? You know, there's going to be technical problems, there's going to be issues, but give it a few tries. And then if you also need help, you know, we have an ecosystem of help around us. So in terms of just the basics, what people need, I think this is in this video, so you're free to share this video once we upload it. But does anyone have any questions, comments, discussion points? What I would encourage you to do is share it in our chat. So if everyone wants to have a look where the chat is, there's two options. There's one thing which is you can share with everyone, or the other one is you can share it. You can share it. You know, with someone else privately. So the floor is yours. Does anyone have any questions about maybe how to implement it with their clubs? Or maybe another thing is I had a connection. I connected with a Rotary Club a few days ago, an e-club, and they said we're happy to run the next level version, right? Which is the next level version is where you can use Zoom to create breakout rooms, and then they essentially were able to run their pets online. So they had like a breakout room of these and these people. They also have like crazy backgrounds, and so I'm not that level of Zoom. I'm just trying to get as many people literate as possible. That's my goal. But in terms of next level, hey, that's Mark. Exactly, Mark's showing off. Can everyone see Mark's background? So if everyone wants to have a look at Mark, so he's showing off with his Zoom skills, and then he can run the advanced version. So what we wanted to do is, as fast as possible, get people going. So that's it. All we wanted to do is just encourage you to take this opportunity to make it really easy for your clubs to get online. So how do you create a breakout room? That is a really great question, and that is something we're going to cover in our next.
Brittany, this is Jeffrey.
Hey, Jeff.
Louis Turpin had a question about the invitation about a call-in phone number. He didn't see a call-in phone number. Can you talk about that?
Of course. So let me go back. So I'm going to share my desktop once again. Okay. So then here, tell me when you can see. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So when I open copy the invitation, here. So this is where let me see, for example, if we go back to, so if we go my account, which is the account that we just set up, right? So if we say we're going to set a meeting, which we have already here, that we have a recurring meeting for our Rotary Club for 7 times, as you can see here. And if I open here, when we open here, the invitation, down here, this is the meeting ID. This is the US number that you will then use. And then once I didn't put in all of the information, I think that's maybe why it didn't come up. Let me, for example, like sign out of this one, and I'll sign in with my other million Zoom accounts. Give me 1 second, this one. And so for example, this one, right? So if I open up this one, copy the invitation, you'll see here that I have the US numbers, for example, all lined up. And then when you call this number, for example, in the US, depending on where you are, and also the dial-in locations will change depending on where you are. So for example, you can edit that to whichever time zones you're in. So for example, when I go here and I go, I have, because I do most of my calls are either US time or Japan time. I have Japan and the US. And then once you call this number, it'll be like one of those typical messaging services where they're like, okay, now please add in your meeting ID. And you'll see here that the meeting ID is the same as the online meeting ID. And then also, or this is like the one tap, which is where it takes you straight through because it's both the number together with the meeting ID. Does that answer your question, Louis?
It did, Brittany. Thank you very much. The reason I asked is it came up on in one of our clubs earlier today that when you initially look at that invitation, it's not obvious that there's a phone number there. And so your description clarifies exactly what people need to understand about how to identify what their phone number is.
What I would also do is maybe if you're like, well, this is a whole lot of information, then when you go to copy the invitation, I would just get rid of maybe the information that you maybe don't need, because we want to just keep it like as concise as possible. So it could be something, let's do it together. And we'll go, for example, if we go share, and we could look something like this. So if I go copy the invitation and I'm like, hang on a second, this is too much information. So when I go to Gmail, let's see which of my Gmails open at this time. So if I go open here, if I go, where's my Rotary Zooms? Let's go there. So if I open my Gmail and I go, okay, let's paste it in here, compose. And I'm like, hang on a second, we don't live in San Jose, forget it. We don't live in New York, get rid of it. Maybe we only need Chicago or something like this. And then let's just do that. Let's just go like this, for example. Then we only have that left over. So let's just make it really, really easy. So I would do something like hi club, right? And then, so let's say something like, here is our scheduled Zoom meeting, right? Here's that, or just like this, it's just our scheduled meeting. And then go, if you want to join via, your computer or whatever, click here or look here. And then if we go, if you want to join by your phone, look here. So, and then just make it, as easy as possible. So use kind of Zoom as a basis rather than like it's, because that's what Zoom is for. And especially, with Rotary, we have like specific, needs, especially for our clubs. So all we want to do, and maybe you want to add, photos to your emails or something like that. So just use Zoom as a basis rather than like as God's word, so to say. All right, what other questions do we have?
Phone numbers only work in US.
Brittany?
And I saw you had Japanese numbers. Did you pay extra for those?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think I have a paid version. And when I said which location I was in, I said I'm in Japan. And I think that's how it came up.
Okay.
That could be.
Brittany, this is Jeffrey.
Hey, Jeffrey.
Someone asked a question about, is there a Zoom for Dummies or other resources? I just posted to everyone a YouTube link, which is kind of Zoom for Dummies. If you want to click on that link after the call, it kind of walks you through on YouTube a lot of the things that we talked about today.
Exactly. And what I would like, whoever now feels comfortable after this call, what I would love is I'm going to post this to everyone. I want you to try to set up a call for any time of day. And I want you to invite this email address. So rotaryzooms@gmail.com. And just to, because I think one of those things when we see it versus when we do it is always like a little bit different. So you have your kind of step-by-step guide now. Everyone here is able to log into Zoom. So you guys are already, ahead of the curve. But try to get a little bit more into just kind of getting to know Zoom. So why don't you go ahead and send, when we hang up the call, or even now, see if you want to set up your own call, and then go ahead and invite me at rotaryzooms@gmail.com. And then just for practice sake. Any other questions?
So Brittany, I have a question.
Go for it, Rob.
Yeah, look, I'm Rob. I'm president of the Tarahumara Club in Sydney, but I'm also a staff member of the RI office in Parramatta. in Sydney. One of the queries that we're getting from clubs is not so much running a pure Zoom meeting, but supplementing their existing physical meeting by allowing people to join that meeting via Zoom. Seems to me that that's a somewhat different experience from the pure Zoom meeting. Have you had any experience with that, nor do you have any comments about how that might work?
So Mark, if you also wanted to jump in here as well, like feel free. So actually, I've had this a few times where I've been, where I've dialed in and I've either spoken to a club, and I'm also doing this actually next week as well with my old club of Rotary Club of Berlin International. So the way this works, you got to keep a few things in mind. One is make sure that the people online there's someone that kind of knows what's going on. Like otherwise you might lose some people. Also, I've heard of obviously a few clubs, depending on where they meet, might not have stable internet connections. I know lots of us meet at hotels and things like this, but often, you know, sometimes trying to get like a Wi-Fi password from like the hotel staff is just like, you know, the equivalent of trying to eradicate polio in and of itself. So maybe what we can do is have like a Wi-Fi, like a portable Wi-Fi is also a really great idea to kind of like as a workaround. And the way that I would do that is to just have a computer at the physical location so that people can see the physical location, and then I would then project that so everyone online can see it. So imagine that let's pretend I'm the physical location and I'm at the meeting room and behind me is our club. It essentially wouldn't be that different to exactly how it is right now. So we'll have our club there. What might also be helpful is to just make sure that there's someone that's responsible for the experience of the people online. So make sure that there's someone there that if the speaker moves, that they're kind of moving the computer for them. So that's maybe something that I would keep in mind, because what we want to do is to create a really quality experience for our members, both online and offline. Mark, did you want to? I know you had.
Look, I think you kind of nailed it there. Ideally, you probably need 2 computers.
Yeah, that's probably
really well. One to be pointing at the members in the room, and one for projecting the presentation on the physical screen as opposed to on the computer screen. So it does take a little bit more technical nous to make it happen. I would say first up, get really comfortable working with Zoom before you start trying to be too clever with that other stuff. Right now, it's probably not a major issue because I know a lot of clubs are not meeting in person now anyway. But after this situation is over, it's going to be an opportunity for those of us who've learned to use Zoom properly to try and be a bit more creative.
And that's the other thing, right? Imagine this doesn't have to be only our crisis modus operandi. Like imagine if we can take this moving forward. I would love to, you know, jump in and join some of your clubs, see how you guys are doing. You know, imagine this, there's just so much potential. Anyone else? Any other questions? Any other comments, ideas? This is essentially the idea of a Rotary meeting, right? So anyone?
Brittany?
Jacqueline.
Brittany, this is Jen from 725. Yes. I just wanted to let everybody know, I was on a call earlier and I only have the free version that allows 40 minutes if it's 3 people or more, but they are generous enough right now that they're allowing you to extend your time without having to upgrade. Okay. Without having to do anything. They just wrote a little message and said, you know, a gift to you, continue your meeting, we're not cutting you off. So it was a nice thing that they did for this time.
I got that once.
We had a different experience last week. Thanks, Jacqueline. That's good to know. So
piggybacking on, I think what Mark said earlier was, we in Hawaii realized that we can share speakers from one island to the other, and we're like really excited about that.
And another thing is that can everyone use the chat function? Does anyone have any questions about how to use the chat function? That there's an option to use to send to everyone or to send privately. So one thing that I like here is that I'm going to type it. And I know this is ironic coming from me because I talk all the time. But one of the things that I love about connecting online is everyone has a voice. You don't have to worry, you know, that obviously the people that are kind of more extroverted, you know, always put up their hands or things like this, that we can use this chat function to encourage contribution from all of our members. Yes, having someone moderate the chat feature would be a good idea. Yeah. Well, maybe let's try out the chat feature. Does everyone want to type something that they, or like an aha moment about Zoom that you're like, oh, I quite like that, or that's something that I'd like to use in my club. And then let's see. Or if anyone's got a good joke, I think everyone's probably in need of a good joke these days. So if you've got a good joke, go for that as well. Do we get the chat in the recording? I will have to double check that. Yes, but you can save the chat. Exactly. Can we use it? Yep, exactly. You can use it for a best practice document. Any other questions, ideas?
Brittany, Darcy at District 5040.
Hey, Darcy, how are you? Haven't seen you since.
Doing great.
Haven't seen you a while.
Listen, if I'm thinking that if you have all of your items open that you want to share on your screen, there's just so much awesome stuff on the Rotary site with people action videos and things like that. I'm really excited to get some clubs going here in our district with this. So just basically what you were doing with the showing your PowerPoint and just click on a video.
Yeah, exactly. That's such a great point, Darcy. I think that's just to reiterate, maybe, I don't know if everyone caught that, but go to our brand center. There's so many really inspiring videos, and maybe you can even just open your meetings like that. Because sometimes this is a moment we often forget. Of course, Rotary lives locally, you know, but our real potential is global. But imagine we just open our meetings, you know, just with like a 2-minute video from the brand center, even if it's like a polio update or things like, you know, those videos that come on at the convention, you know, that make you cry, like those videos, you know, opening those. Or even closing the meeting like that, you know, might be a really great way to just connect that global mindset of Rotary as well. Any other comments, thoughts over the next couple of minutes?
Brittany, along similar lines, this is Lewis from 7210 again. Many organizations such as Shelterbox now have pre-recorded 15 to 20-minute presentations that can be used in your virtual club meetings. So perhaps we should be all collecting and sharing those opportunities with each other, because hopefully this isn't forever. But for even our e-clubs or our passport clubs, those have been around for a while now, but we can be using them in our club meetings now. So
yes,
just be aware of those opportunities.
That's another great idea.
Sure.
Marga, the different backgrounds thing actually requires you to have a green screen, but Mark, you don't, or you need like computer. How did you do yours? I heard you needed a green screen.
It's actually not that difficult. I think you may need to have the Zoom app installed on your phone as opposed to just going directly online. But down the bottom, you've got the mute button and the stop video button. Stop video, there's a little up arrow. And there you have an option to choose a virtual background.
Mine says the computer doesn't support the needs.
Well, that's a different matter. But whereas me, I've got the rotary wheel behind me now. So.
I love that.
Or I can be in a nice place where I'd like to be when this is all over.
That's
and of course, getting ready for next year.
Hey, you're a professional. Okay, so now we've done tutorial 101. We can go to app. I don't have that either. So let's do that then in our next call, being our
Brittany, I do have a question, Brittany. I see at the bottom of my screen I have a control that allows me to share my screen with everybody.
Yeah.
I can see where that would be a problem if everyone in the meeting had that and started using it.
Right.
Is there a way to restrict that to just the moderator?
Sure is. So for example, when you are like right now, I'm the one who's hosting the meeting, and on my share button, I have one participant can share at a time versus multiple participants can share simultaneously. So what will happen, Chris, is that whoever wants to share their screen who's not the moderator, the moderator will then get a message being like, hey, Chris Potter wants us to share his screen, and then I will be able, as the moderator, to accept it or decline it. So
is that something you had to set up when you were setting up the meeting, or is that?
No, that's built into the the moderator function. So you don't have to worry about someone sharing their screen and in their phones in their pocket or something like that.
Okay. Thanks.
Alrighty. All right. Any other thoughts? This was really fun. Did everyone have a good time? I had a good time.
Yeah, I can see where this is going to be useful.
I had this.
My first step is I'm going to set up a call for all of my club presidents.
Great.
In my area, and then encourage them each to get their own account. Or I'm going to probably get the $15 a month account and allow people to use it.
Right. I'll make sure that our video is up as fast as possible for you, like in the next hour, so that you can then go and share this link and see what it's like.
Hey, Brittany, this is Jeffrey.
Hey, Jeffrey.
Thank you to you and Mark again for setting this up. Jennifer, thanks for being on the call. Thank you. I sent a message to everyone, but on behalf of the board of directors, thank you to all of you for participating. Brittany, we got up to like almost 100.
We did. We got over because I had to reject people, unfortunately.
Are we going to do this again next week? Let's go for 500.
Okay. Yes. Let's go with the model of say yes and work out the details later, aka my Rotary life. So
thank you to everybody. This is maybe the silver lining in all of this, is that we have been slow as an organization to embrace technology as a way to connect and engage. And this is the time when we really need to do that. So thank you to all of you. Acknowledge your disappointment, channel into determination. Keep your members safe and keep your community safe.
Now, Jeff, your camera has been replaced by just your name. Yeah. Is that something you did, or?
Yes, I stopped my video.
Oh, okay. All right.
Back.
Which is right, Chris.
That's just the button in the lower left.
Yes.
So if in your profile you have a picture instead of your name, your picture will show up. So that's why
gotcha.
It's a picture, right? Okay. So now we've done Zoom 101.
What Jeff said just then, Jeff, your comment about staying in touch. It's critically important with some of our older members who, particularly those who perhaps are uncomfortable with technology, that we find a way to help them through this. Because just as an example, in the UK now, they're talking about people over 70 not going outside for 3 months.
Yeah.
And those who don't want to embrace technology, they're going to be seriously isolated. And we need to help them through that, because this experience is not isolating, is it? This is a wonderful experience.
Mark, that's actually quite true. So I know my parents are actually being told they need to be staying in for 12 weeks now, which is going to be uncomfortable for them. But I think the struggle, irrespective of that, is, dare I say it, the age range in the UK and possibly elsewhere in the world, which I'm not familiar with, is still probably 70 years and up or slightly younger. So, it's the challenges of the 50-year-olds trying to get the 70-year-olds and up used to using cameras and used to using video conferencing software and getting them set up when you're not actually in their home, which is probably much easier to do it than when you're remote from them. So that's one thing I will say. But there's also Office 365 for non-profits, if you ever want to use that, which is also totally free in terms of its Teams conferencing facilities, which I know I use both for my work and personal and business use. So that's just an idea for everyone if you don't want to be using Teams, don't want to be using Zoom. But anyway, that's it.
Alrighty, so everyone,
Brittany, can I bother you with one other question, because it just occurred to me?
Go for it.
One of my members' wives is in the hospital, and as of last Wednesday, she can't have visitors, and she's going to be there for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Did I hear that there's an app version of this?
Of course, you bet, on your phone. No, of course, looks like this. I'll show you.
So she has a Kindle. She could use that.
There.
Can you set up, instant meetings, where her daughter could call her and she get the invite and get right in? Or?
If she has an iPad, it can work. But if she has a Kindle, that only supports books. But if
not Kindle. It's an Amazon Fire.
And I think she might need. Does she have a smartphone?
She has a dumb phone. She's actually got the cell phone with the rotary dial, but
Well, let's connect online and let's put our thinking caps on and think what we can do there. But on that line, I just wanted to respect everybody.
Somebody just told me the Kindle Fire would work if she had the app. Okay.
All right. So I just wanted to. We'll just cut it here. Anyone's got any questions? Feel free. I'll stay around for a little bit. But everyone else, I just wanted to respect our time, and say, I hope, my greatest hope is that in this time of crisis, this becomes, this is something that we can grade out of, that we can take forward and say, your club doesn't have like an online element. That's weird. Like, imagine that if we can really take this and embrace it and say, if anything, for our older members, this is maybe even better for them, you know, in many cases. So I hope that, like Jeffrey said, let's take disappointment into determination and move forward. And I would like to especially thank Mark, and I would like to thank Jeffrey and Jennifer, but of course everyone else, all of you that took the time. It's so wonderful to be able to connect with Rotary friends for an hour all over the world. This is just so wonderful, and this has got to be a presence, right? Like, I know that presents don't count. So
Happy hour.
Cheers.
It's happy hour here.
Thank
Cheers.
you, Brittany.
It's happy hour.
Thank
for
you.
Jeffrey. All right, I'm going to stay around for a second if anyone has any questions, but apart from that, bye guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye. So
Bye.
Chris, to your question.
Thank you, Brittany.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
I would encourage her to either use she needs some kind of smart device, like an Amazon, like a Kindle won't be able to support it. But if she has a phone or someone else does, maybe we can.
Well, her daughter and son-in-law got her an iPad at the holidays. She has not taken it out of the box.
Okay, so
we
step one,
may have to do it.
Unboxing. Step one is unboxing.
Yes. Step two is sneaking it in with her clean laundry. But
yeah. Step one, unboxing, sneaking the laundry. 3, install the app.
Getting her to use it. Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye, guys.
Chris,
Chris, I'll just say, get her to use it for something she enjoys, like playing cards or something, so she sees it as more than a communication tool.
Yeah. She uses the Amazon Fire to read books, but doesn't do anything else with it. And there's, you know, it's, if you ever saw that Seinfeld episode where he gave his father the old, you know, the Palm Pilot, and all he uses it for is to calculate tips. That's kind of what we're dealing with.
And that's exactly where I was going. She's got to find another reason to use it, and then this Zoom thing will just make sense.
That's a good,
So Brittany, how would you like us to request the slides, or are you going to post them?
Just put your email in the chat, and I'll.
Thank you all. I gotta go.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Brittany, just a quick question. This is Deli. Will you be able to share the chat as well? Because there were shared some links which I didn't have time to copy paste.
I'll save the chat. Yes, I will.
Great. And it's so great seeing you. Thank you so much for doing this. How timely. Thank you so much.
Hey, Marga, how are you? It's Jeffrey.
Marga's mute.
Yeah, she's muted. Tell John I said hello, will you please?
Hang on, unmute. There we go.
Okay, no, that's Jeffrey. Okay, well, thank you so much all, because it's the first time I am in a call like this. So excellent.
I didn't know that. That's great. I'm glad you hope you had a good time.
Tell John how good it was.
Usually I go to places where meetings take place, so now it's different, and I'm really delighted.
Good to see you.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Mark. Bye, Brittany.
Bye, guys.
Brittany and Jeff. Dave Gardner, 7930. How are you guys doing?
Dave, how are you doing?
Great discussion. Jeff, we've talked a little bit in the past about Rotary trying to get a national, international account for Zoom. At enterprise level, has that been discussed at all?
Certainly has not been discussed at the board level. The best we have right now is a 20% discount on Rotary Global Awards. I'm not sure, though. I would suspect that given what we're currently going through, that at the April board meeting, there might be some discussion about that. We had a board meeting yesterday via Kudo, K-U-D-O, which allows simultaneous interpretation. So our interpreters were able to, right, Brittany? I mean, I had people talking and listening in Japanese and Korean.
You mean because of your accent, Jeffrey? People can understand? Is that what
Yeah. Well, English is my second language, and I don't have a first, but.
So David, Brittany, and Jeffrey, if I could interject, I can add some input to that.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So this is Darren Sweeney from District 7080, Kitchener-Waterloo. And we've been very successful getting 50% discounts with Zoom.
Oh, wow.
Going through a system called TechSoup. There's TechSoup.org, and Tech for the World, and TechSoup.ca for Canada, which is where I am. And they work with not-for-profits and charities. And as long as your club is registered as a not-for-profit or a charity, and you have status, you qualify for 50% discount with Zoom.
That's great.
Our club's foundation did, and our district did. In fact, I just approved our district today, and our district has decided to give every cluster a Zoom license paid for by the district at 50% discount. So,
how do you spell TechSoup?
TechSoup.org.
And that applies to a lot of programs, a lot of
oh, sure,
business programs.
You're right, David. They do everything from Microsoft, QuickBooks for Intuit, Zoom, Dell. No, I don't know. I don't know about Dell, but there are products available like Dell and HP through other suppliers. But it's definitely TechSoup.org or .ca if you're in Canada, and if you're the right type of classification of club or district, you'll get a 50% Zoom discount.
Okay.
Darren, you're totally correct, because that's how we got our Office 365 for non-profits in the UK via that method. And, it's opened up a whole world of, capabilities to be able to run our annual fireworks display domain as well with that software.
Right,
So
and now our district is involved and interested, and we're going after G Suites. So we can get G Suite for nonprofits for free, and that'll open up a whole lot of other opportunities for us.
And you also need to know that despite me saying, but what I'm going to say is that you can actually host your own WordPress website virtually for free.
With Microsoft or with
through Microsoft on their
Yes.
Azure websites hosting, which is probably getting a bit too technical for people on this discussion forum.
Well, I agree, but I guess the point is with TechSoup, it opens doors.
Yeah.
And as not-for-profits and charities, there's opportunities. And I look at Microsoft and Google as Ford versus Chevy. Everybody has their own preference.
And I will say the fact that different countries have different offerings via TechSoup. So, in the UK, we don't have certain offerings that the US have at the moment, which
and
really
do you go through TechSoup.org in the UK?
Yeah, I believe so. They had an office at King's Cross Railway Station, but I think they've moved now. But it really does concern me, the difference in offers that TechSoup offer throughout the whole world.
They are worldwide.
Yeah.
So this is, for example, if you find a discrepancy, then just stay within our Rotary ecosystem, and then you have your sure guaranteed 20% discount. So obviously your minimum discount is 20%. And then we have other options apart from that.
Aniba.
All right, Brittany, I've got to go to another call. Thank you.
All right, everyone. I think if there's anything else, feel free to send us an email. If not, thank you everyone for joining the call. It's always a pleasure to connect with the family of Rotary.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.